The American Civil War was one of the bloodiest conflicts in U.S. history. It was a war fought between the northern states, the Union, and the southern states, the Confederacy, which had seceded from the Union. The war was primarily centered around two main slavery and states' rights, but it also embodied a deeper conflict over the future of the United States as a unified nation. 1.5 seconds. Background of the war in the early 19th century. The United States was divided over the issue of slavery. The northern states had gradually abolished slavery, and their economies were more industrialized and free. In contrast, the southern states relied on agriculture, especially cotton farming, which heavily depended on the forced labor of enslaved people. As American territories expanded westward, tensions grew between the North and South over whether the new states would allow slavery. 1.5 seconds. These tensions peaked in the 1860 election, when Abraham Lincoln was elected president. Known for his anti-slavery expansion stance, main causes of the slavery the core issue that divided the nation. While the South sought to preserve slavery and expand it into new territories, the North aimed to limit its scope and prevent its spread into Western states' rights. 1.3 seconds. The South believed that states had the right to determine their own laws, and that the federal government had no right to interfere in internal matters like slavery. 1.6 seconds. The 1860 presidential election. The election of Abraham Lincoln angered Southern states, which saw his presidency as a direct threat to their social and economic systems based on slavery. Beginning of the war after Lincoln's election in 1860-11, Southern states declared their secession from the United States and formed the Confederate States of America in February 1861, led by Jefferson Davis. On April 12, 1861, Confederate forces attacked Fort Sumter in South Carolina, marking the official start of the Civil War. Key battles first. Battle of Bull Run, 1861, the first major battle of the war, where Confederate forces achieved an unexpected victory. Battle of Antietam, 1862, the bloodiest single day in American history, with over 22,000 soldiers killed or wounded. Although the battle was inconclusive, it halted the Confederate advance into the North. Battle of Gettysburg, 1863, a turning point in the war in favor of the Union as Confederate General Robert E. Lee failed to invade the North. Siege of Vicksburg, 1863, a Union victory on the Mississippi River which split the South and weakened the Confederate forces significantly. Emancipation Proclamation on January 1, 1863, President Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation, declaring the freedom of all enslaved people in Confederate-held territories. While the proclamation did not immediately free all slaves, it shifted the war's purpose to include the abolition of slavery as a key goal for the North. End of the war. As the war progressed, the Union began to achieve decisive victories on the ground due to its industrial superiority and larger manpower. In April 1865, Confederate General Robert E. Lee surrendered to Union General Ulysses S. Grant at Appomattox Courthouse, effectively ending the Civil War. Results of the abolition of slavery. The war ended with the abolition of slavery in the United States through the 13th Amendment to the Constitution in 1865. Reunion of the country. Despite significant tensions, the Southern states were reunified with the North. Assassination of Abraham Lincoln. President Lincoln was assassinated on April 14, 1865, just days after the war ended, leaving the nation in grief and uncertainty. Reconstruction. The period following the war saw efforts to rebuild the South and reintegrate the Confederate States into the Union, as well as attempts to grant civil and political rights to African Americans. War casualties. The American Civil War was the deadliest conflict in U.S. history, with over 600,000 people killed and hundreds of thousands wounded. The war caused massive destruction in the South, with entire cities and plantations destroyed, leaving the Southern economy devastated. It ended slavery in the United States, though it did not end racial discrimination. As the struggle for civil rights for African Americans continued for decades, the war also strengthened the authority of the federal government over states and confirmed that the Union could not be dissolved. Conclusion. The American Civil War was a defining moment in U.S. history, profoundly shaping the country's future and laying the foundation for the modern American state. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel to receive all the new videos. Share your thoughts with us in the comments, and stay tuned for more exciting episodes about wars and historical events. Thank you for watching.